My cousin Elizabeth did nothing. No army to quell the rebellion, no offer of support, nothing. So unchecked, the lead dealt with us swiftly, forcing us to relinquish our freedom. Bothwell was exiled and imprisoned. I grateful to never see my abuser again. Yet any relief would be short-lived. Why was I considered equally guilty? They said I must have enticed him, led him to believe I was willing. Of course, nay must mean yea to some men's ears. And so they had a vengeful fate for me, the temptress. My lords, I am the victim of a heinous wrong. Stand by your queen. Did they listen? Nay, they turned their backs and did nothing to stop my once loyal subjects. Drag me through the streets of Edinburgh as if a harlot, a whore. My pretty hair hanging loose and matted, my once beautiful garb soiled. They tore my bodice, exposed me, yet more violation. The crowd bade, burn the whore, kill her, drown her. How had it thus ended? This uninvited hatred had replaced their respect and love for me, their anointed sovereign. This was my darkest hour. I was broken. All I had left was my faith. I kept it lit as if a candle lighting my way in the dark. Separated from my infant son and thrown into prison on the island of Loch Leven, I was left to live as a rat, or rather die. I had not been there long before I felt the quickening of a child in my belly, which was to give me no joy. When those two tiny bairns found their way into this hellish world of mine, they perished. I prayed for their souls and asked God that I may not make old bones. Back in Edinburgh, my half-breed brother rose from the shadows, placing the Scottish crown on my infant son's head, James VI of Scotland, and naming himself regent. Finally he had that which he felt I had denied him, to be king of the Scots in all but name. Yet I had no intention of wallowing in prison. I meant to escape. My Lord Seaton and Beaton had remained loyal and were waiting with a 6,000 strong army. Alas, my brother also sent troops, and we were defeated at Langside. With nowhere to go, we made our way to Dundrennan to seek protection and support. If only I had listened. My lords tried to tell me, return to France, my lady, as a Guise you'll be welcomed and treated royally. Yet I believed in my heart that my cousin the English Queen would protect me. She would see me placed rightfully back on the Scottish throne. We had many years of affectionate correspondence and bound our ties, even exchanging rings. I could trust her. Unbeknown to me, that night in 1568, as I stood there on that deserted beach, was to be my last on Scottish soil, my last taste of freedom. And so away, across the Solway Firth, we landed in Workington and salvation. As we neared Carlisle Castle, my heart leapt. So many soldiers, I thought, for my protection. How wrong was I? Initially we were welcomed and treated well. I managed to regain some self-esteem. I held court and had visitors aplenty. It was a glorious time. I made the acquaintance of Thomas Howard, 4th Duke of Norfolk. He almost became my 4th husband, though the match would never have had the blessing of Elizabeth. Alas, the poor soul would pay for daring to think in this way, but he was to die a traitor's death. He should never have got involved with Ridolfi. Nonetheless, Tom helped me smile again and awoke the old me. I discovered I could still charm all. Well, in truth, all I had was my charm, as none spoke French nor Scottish. It was most frustrating, so thank heavens for one of my childhood friends who was now returned to me. Dear Mary Seaton, a trusted childhood friend to brighten my court, timely too, as my hair was not as pretty as once it was, and she made excellent wigs. You see, when I had been packed off to France by my mother, I was not alone. I had 4 girls of a similar age as companions and maids, all called Mary, being derived from Marie, which is Scottish for maid. It could be at times confusing, and we would make such mischief. What else would 5 little girls called Mary do in what was to us back then a strange country? My other 3 dear Marys being Beaton, Livingston and Fleming. Meanwhile, I became impatient when Elizabeth would not meet with me. Clearly she had no intention of visiting her northern lands, something that would later see her have to get her hands dirty over when the North rebelled. But no matter, if she chose not to travel to me, then I was prepared to progress south. So, pourquoi the delay? Quelle surprise! This was not possible. It transpired I was being held captive. Well, I wrote to her demanding to be allowed to return to France. She did not reply. I wrote again, asking for more attendance, clothes and coin. She did not reply. I even swallowed my pride and entreated my ex-mother-in-law, Catherine de Medici, to send the money owed me by the French crown. She did not reply. I was sent garb, yet it was unfit for the lowest rank in my household. How dare the English insult me so? Eventually my brother pitied me and arranged a few of my remaining possessions be sent to me, sans many valuables that others had clearly helped themselves to. Time marched on, and I felt a little settled. Then, sacre bleu, the English demanded I stand trial for the murder of my husband, a crime I had no part in. Well, of course I refused. Elizabeth refused to see me unless I agreed to the trial and cleared my name. Stalemate. So now I could clearly see. My beloved and trusted sister queen was now my jailer. Oh, but she kept her Tudor hands spotless of any injustice by not appearing at the charades of York and London to decide my fate, and I forbidden attendance and defence. Why, this folly had no real evidence. Faked letters my brother said he found in a casket, written by my hand to Bothwell, confessing my guilt. Why, they must think me a simpleton to pen such damning words. Yet my cowardly cousin believed me guilty, and used the charade to keep me captive indefinitely.